I was pleased to see a new book of poems by Hank Lazer titled "The Silver Bowl is Filled with Snow." These are new poems, as Hank tends to do, dated by the time of composition, and they grow out of his poetic practice over many, many years, his Buddhist practice also over many years, and his partial residence at a farm outside of Tuscaloosa. The poems are, for the most part, not titled, so I'm going to read a poem that begins, "I study light on the bark of trees." I study light on the bark of trees. I study light on the hillside west of the farmhouse. I study light on the pasture. I study light on the tree line north of the pasture along the edge of Coal Fire Creek. I study early morning light. I study light late in the day. I study light at noon hardly ever. I study light a pinpoint at great distance. I study light within at the urging of Dogen. I study light that I cannot see, the hidden aura of your present body. I study words to learn their differential sounds. I study words to hear if birds and trees use some of these. I study words to witness their turning into song. I study words to take some with me in whatever is next. I study words because this is the treasure given to me. I study words with the joy of a grandmother from Odessa and a grandfather from Lithuania. I study words because they emerge from dark matter the same way as new stars. I study words to speak them and write them and turn them loose. I study words to wonder who said that. I study words because that's the kind of microscope and atom splitter that I have. I study bliss in case it were to settle on me. I study ecstasy to know about the chemical composition of pleasure. I study enlightenment because of its beautiful history that blocks the way. I study transcendence so that I can grab its ankle to pull it back down. I study not knowing because I love being adjacent to it. I study numbers for their intrinsic beauty. I study numbers for no financial gain. I study numbers to feel the ways they reshape my neural pathways. I study numbers Arabic and Roman and Babylonian and Mayan to live within their historical dream. I study numbers because they speak to an intricate and discoverable universe and display an exact architecture. I study numbers to confirm the deep pleasure of 0 and 1. I study numbers because some are lucky. 3, 7, 13, 18, 36, 54, 72. I study numbers to keep the count, to be accountable, to let them decide for me how many words, lines, stanzas. I study numbers because they coincide with so many operations and structures in the physical world, but my true love is imaginary numbers and base systems other than 10. I study numbers to take measure of this life and, like my namesake Henry, to report back whatever I find to be so as I number my days. That is a poem by Hank Lazer for the Midweek Poetry Break.